Hello YouTube, I Fix It All here, Team I Fix It All. Let's see. I think this will be part 4 of using your raised garden beds as a greenhouse. Got my controls all hooked up. Look at part 1, 2, and 3. As usual, obviously the heating elements in here are not heating because the thermometer has exceeded my 70 degrees. Right now it's telling us it's approaching 120 in there. So when the sun is out and it's chilly outside, I think it's in the mid 40s right now, then the solution I have is I've got 2 paracords coming out to the hoop, and I just simply go like this, pull that down, and voila. I'm going to put the phone down and show you the latching mechanism. Hang on guys, sorry about that, I pretty much cut the whole video off, but it is what it is. I didn't bring any kind of devices or anything out here. Alright, so it's got simple little loops right there that hold it in place. There you go. So now this would be the solving the aspect of when the sun is out, but it's borderline temperatures. I can regulate the height of how much air or wind or sun I let in, and let these temperatures come down. And that's already coming down to about 100. What I did learn last night was this heating mat and that heating mat is not enough wattage in what did we determine? These guys are 20 watts. Yeah. So for my solve on that, hang tight. I'm going to see if these work. Anyway, here's a backup look. It doesn't mean the whole system doesn't work. It just means that those prefamulated mats that you use for a greenhouse shelving system aren't producing enough heat, because last night the temperatures got to about 38 and I couldn't get the ambient air inside there to go above 41. I do know that I may end up, well, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Let's just say that if I demand that area heat up, I need a device that's going to produce that amount of heat to get the temperatures up to a reasonable level so the seedlings that have sprouted aren't compromised. That's what I'm after. I know I can control a lot of this. I know this whole methodology I've got going on here of cooling off the interior is going to work. I can adjust the height of this as I see fit, and it lets wind in. But let's see what I've got in mind for a second source of heat. Hang tight. Or should I say, I'll back up a little bit. I left this up for about 10 minutes or so, and it got the temps down into reasonable range, right in there. Matter of fact, that thing is pegged out. The thermometer. Yeah. Which doesn't agree with that, but I can calibrate things. What I'm trying to do, people, is just try to understand how to make this work proper and prep me for when I do throw seedlings in here. All right, now let's go look at this alternative plan for heaters in here to replace these guys. Hang tight. So what I did was I went out and I got this stuff. And what I don't like about it is that it's thermostatically controlled. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It has its application. In my situation, I'm looking for a product that has more wattage and gives me the liberty to cut on and off power going to it. So I've got one of these already set up. The instructions say that this thing could draw up to 5 amps. You know, that's quite a tall tale. On the tag, it says a lot different specs. I think it said, hold on, let me look at that and see what it says on the cord itself. Okay, so the cord's telling us it's 120 volt AC, 0.7 amps. I don't know what that 84W means. No, current times voltage. Okay, so 120 times 0.7. Let's walk back over here. $120 times 0.7 is 70% of, yep, okay, about 84 watts. So the greenhouse mats were 20 watts. These are 4 times the amount of wattage. I've got 2 systems. That's 8 times the amount of heat. Okay, my meter just cut off. Let's go look at the experiment I got set up. Let's walk over here and take a look at what I got rigged up. So I have this power cord plugged into a power strip, and I've got the sensor cable stretched out, or the heating cable stretched out, and I have my multimeter here, and I believe the multimeter might be like 20 some degrees off. I'm not sure, but it's telling us about 22 degrees inside the deep freezer. I've got the sensor rigged up to where it's always up against some ice, and get that down in there deeper. There we go. And temperature's dropping. This temperature probe sometimes acts like it's broken and sometimes it doesn't. But let's just say it's off by a factor of 20 degrees. So, to the touch, I wish it was hotter. I know it just feels like a heating pad. We've got an old school heating pad that does 41 watts. It just feels a hell of a lot warmer, but maybe this amount of wattage stretched across a distance of 12 feet is going to produce more heat inside the raised bed with the lid down. So, yeah, 19 degrees. I mean, the meters, the temperature probe is saying numbers that logically make sense, but I'm not going to believe it. So our next thing is I want to put the temperature probe up against this cable that's been heating for a while. Again, I had to trick it into energizing the heating cable. So let me get this taped up to this, and let's see what our temperatures come to. Hang tight, everybody. Okay, so I got it. I got the temperature probe secured with just a little bead of tape. And it's telling me about 135 degrees. It's jumping around. Let me turn on another light here. I got some DC backup lights here. Oops. Jiggling that around a lot. But it seems like it's regulating. I don't like to spend a lot of time reverse engineering things, but it looks like it's trying to teeter-totter up to 140 degrees, and then it'll regulate down to about 130. You stinker. And that is 131. And watch it drop. Yeah, it should come down to like the 120s, in the mid 120s, and then it ramps back up again. And I would suspect that's that thermocouple, that roundy guy that's wedged currently. This, and that's a usual suspect of a simple mechanical device called a thermodisc. I got it right up against the ice. Make sure these aren't crisscrossed. I'm just tricking the thermostat built into this item, tricking it into thinking there's a freezing scenario. It is pretty warm, and that could be 131 degrees. I could double check it against something else, but what I do know is that the heater mats that I would use for the mats that are out there right now, intended for seedlings, maxed out about 111, 110, 111 for a fourth of the wattage. So I'm just struggling right now. I'm going to go get a heating pad and see what the temperature of a heating pad actually comes up to, because I'm looking for radiant heat to be dispersed in a safe way. And this item here that I just got, I had to go buy something, seems most appropriate for the application. I don't necessarily want to use a heating pad out there, but if I think it'll be fine and it gets hotter, then I'm going to use 2 heating pads. Hang tight. Okay, I'm back. I've got a regular heating pad, and this says it is a 49 watt unit. And that's my temperature, and it's really steady eddy. Even if my temperature probe, like in I don't know what part it was, I think it was part 3. Even if my temperature probe needs replaced, what we do have is a reference point. A reference meaning the meter is broke, but by how much, or the temperature probe is jacked by how much. But what we do know is we're getting a result that is as good as this product right here. And I don't necessarily, over a distance, this product might be better. I would have to defeat that. But I'm just not real sure I want to go with this product or not. I may return these. They told me I could return them as long as the packaging was intact. But I was very surprised at, sure, it works great for water pipes. But I was pretty surprised at, oh, I got to turn my backup lights off. Okay. So I was pretty surprised at how low the temperature was. And for the price point, I think I can go with 2 or 3 of these. All I need is radiant heat to keep the seedlings from freezing. And preferably to keep them up in the worst case scenario. If it's in the teens outside, I want that raised garden bed to be in the 50s. And I don't know, I just got to science out on this. It's something I've got to learn. And also, I won't be starting seedlings, well, until probably 3rd week of March. It could be a whole different weather band and time frame, and a whole lot less struggle to maintain temperatures when I'm starting seedlings. I feel like the 1st, 2nd week of March is very bare minimum when I need to be starting seed. And I want to control temperatures in that bed. Whatever I end up doing, that'll be the next video. But I wanted to bring up another topic. Hang tight. So I'm back out here again, and I've been thinking about something. And what I've been thinking about was, if I leave this down for a couple of weeks before seedlings go in, if you guys have ever heard of something called a sand battery, what I'm wondering is, if I just leave this lid down, it'll preheat my bed. Because I've already noticed the left-hand thermometer has came up in temperature values. I'm in the mid-50s right now. Almost coming up on 60. I had to hand calibrate this one. That one there on the right is telling us, if I would stop moving, okay, so there's that, mid-50s, which is coordinated properly with this guy who's telling us we're in the mid-50s. So that means the temperature of the bed matches the temperature that's inside my air gap. In other words, they're linear. If I leave that down for a week or two and let that bed preheat, then that means when nighttime comes around, that'll act like a battery and dissipate heat up into that area when the lid's closed. Too much science here. Whatever I decide on, I think I'm going to go ahead and return those long corded type heaters and just get 3 heating pads and spot them in here. They're small enough and I can populate my seedlings around. I have 2 plug-ins though. I have to use an adapter. I have options. There's 1 turnbuckle, there's 2 turnbuckles, there's 3. Well, Tell you what, those heating pads are not that expensive at all. I think that's the way I'm going to go because they're simple technology. Their use is diverse for people or the garden. The other item is kind of specialty. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll just do heating pads. All right, guys. Oh, one more thing. The heating pad, hang on. Got to go back in the garage. It's chilly out here. Okay, we're back in the garage. Okay, so that's still the heating pad, the Conair heating pad. It's still doing about 130 some degrees. What's interesting is the ones identical to this that they're selling at Dollar General right now are not 49 watts, they are 39 watts. So, I think I just need to, yeah, I'm not going to use these things. Kept my receipt. I'll pack this one back up. This one's unopened. I don't think I want to dive in the rabbit hole. If these were getting up to like 175 or 180, yeah, these would be the cat's meow. But what I'm trying to say is that irregardless of conditions, I want something that's going to produce heat to maintain a temperature in my raised garden bed open space area, the free air, that airspace. Believe me, I've even considered checking out Goodwill and picking up their spare coffee pots and get 4 heater plates and then fabricable a container they can go in and plug in all 4. Because here's the thing. If you get the air up to temperature, they're going to cut off. Power's going to not go to them anymore. And then they have their own little thermal safety cutout switch. I'm thinking of all kinds of things. The last thing I want to do is go way stupid into the territories of... I'm not going to go in anywhere like an open heater type thing, a space heater. Hell no, that's too dangerous. There's leaves in there. But like a hot plate, that wouldn't be a bad deal. It's just that I have that plastic on the top of my raised garden bed and I don't want that to melt. So there's so many considerations here, but really I think 2 or 3 simple heating pads will get me where I want to be. I need something that is going to overheat and get cut off. I want something that has more heat than I need. That way my controls that I designed will cut off power to it when the temperature gets up to speed. I don't think these are going to do it. I really don't. And plus I have to defeat that circuit right inside this orange block. And that's all injection molded, case welded. And I don't know what I'm getting into because I don't know what the design is. However, heating pads are pretty simple technology. I'm going to do a little research and see if I can't find them based on wattage and see what I come up with. Because this is holding a pretty decent constant temperature. And it's a simple on-off switch. And if I lay 3 of these in there, I think I'm golden. Alright guys, you have a great rest of your day, but there will be one more video on this. That way I can put this whole project to bed. See ya.